Folks, we've got one more reader before intermission. California girls are undeniable. Fine, fresh, fierce, moving through the redwood forests, swifter than smoke, silent as shadows, black blood dripping from grizzly bear fangs, wearing a sensible hoodie in the summer because it gets cold. They're not hunting you, they're toying with you. California girls are unforgettable. You want to forget. You drink and drink and drink to forget. Wine, whiskey, vodka, moonshine. More times than you'd like to remember, you came this close to drinking bleach. Maybe that would finally scrub the memories clean. California girls are unrelenting. You thought you could escape them. You were wrong. Now put your hands up. Put your hands up. And put your hands together for Lauren Parker!
Hello, everyone. So I'm feeling a little insecure about my body right now.
Stop!
Wait. So I'm feeling a little insecure, but I'm going to share a hack. So whenever I feel insecure about my body, I remember that oppressors taught me to hate my body, and everything that oppressors fear is rad. Also, I have to pee, so I might speed up towards the end, but hate it. This piece is called "I Was a Fuckable Child." It's okay.
I warned you.
I'm gonna change the title. I was a sweet child and nothing bad happens. Anyway, enjoy this essay.
Yeah.
I began to hit puberty when body glitter was in its heyday. It came in various containers: hand lotion bottles, soap pump dispensers, tubs full of gel that you could scoop out and spread on your skin so that you radiated everywhere, whether in sunshine or fluorescent lighting. I bought it at the gas station near my house, where it was wedged between the butterfly clips and the chewy taffies. I lived in a working class division in a suburb of Detroit, one of those really far away suburbs, where people liked being far away from the city, but were close enough that their art museum memberships paid for themselves. It wasn't a very nice place. The houses were metal siding in various shades of white, taupe, and forest green, with accents of fake rock. The lawns were flat, but it still had the trees you could fall out of and the tetanus you could acquire from hopping fences. The body glitter came in all sorts of shades. I preferred the baby blue because I had learned that pink was for girls, and for some reason that was bad. No one told me it was bad per se, but they didn't have to. I would wear it on my cheeks, my arms, rub it on my legs, shimmering everywhere I went, leaving a trail of metallic crumbs behind me. From 1998 to 2000, it was crammed into my cuticles, smeared on my trapper keepers, and dusted into the part of my hair. When body glitter was king, I started growing boobs. I was an early bloomer, the sort of pubescent girl whom young female teachers hate because they had signed up to teach elementary school kids and not menstruating children who hadn't figured it all out yet. I beat the puberty video. The hair had started to sprout. I began to keep my arms forced down at my sides so no one would see the dark sweat rings around my pits. And I had gotten so tall and my legs so long, I was seated at a table in the back of the class by myself, instead of at the usual cluster of desks. That was fine by me. I was getting bullied anyway. It actually wasn't fine. I was lonely and desperate to show how smart I was, still in possession of childlike exuberance that couldn't be contained. I was commonly confused for a teacher, towering over every boy in school, and all of my pants were high waters. It was mortifying. Also, strange men started yelling at me from cars. I have a list I call the resume. Instead of my accomplishments, it's a collection of memories of terrible things men have done to me. Age 5. A man drives by my house and takes a picture of me. I smile. Age 9. A Jeep packed with teenage boys follows me for several blocks, stops in the middle of 4 lanes of residential traffic, and say, "Hey baby, you need a ride?" I was drinking a Sprite. For years, I thought of myself as prudish for not getting in the car. I don't drink Sprite anymore. Age 10, a boy named Noah takes a shine to me in my neighborhood. He's 15. That doesn't bother him, though. I'm so hot anyway. I had always feared men as a child. Not actively, but I found them unpredictable. No one explicitly told me to avoid them, but it was hidden in all of the stranger danger of the post-80s. The strangers you weren't supposed to take candy from were men. Noah wasn't a man, though. He was 5 years older, but he looked young for his age. He was shorter than me, and was really into hip-hop and hockey, and had enough confidence to talk to me. Noah was pretty fascinated by my body. He spent a lot of time talking about how hot I was, because I had no experience with male interaction besides childhood playmates and adult men telling me I was a looker. I had no idea how to respond. Noah would look at me in a way that I still recognize as danger. It was not the sensual lust found in noir, but the smug satisfaction of dominion. I courted the attention, but is it really asking for it if you're 10 and he's 15? For 2 years, I convinced myself that Noah was my friend, and that his constant touching and commenting on my body to me and his friends was okay. Sexuality is considered capital, but what good is currency if it doesn't spend? When its only value is to be hoarded, and you can't trade it for safety, security, or protection. What is sexual capital to a 10-year-old? I have never gotten so much sexual attention as when I was 10 years old. The trouble with sexual capital is it's not symbolic. Gold has value because we say it does. You cannot be gold. You can only have it. I switched from baby blue glitter to bright neon yellow. I tried to be gold. Why didn't I get help? I actually tried and got cold feet. I told my dare officer. I even called it sexual harassment. He offered to talk to Noah. I declined. That was too real. I wasn't ready to be so exposed. I didn't want him to know I had told anyone. I didn't know how to go back to being a freak if the attention stopped. With Noah, I was something closer to acceptable. To my peers, I was an oversized hormone monster, an omen of sweat stains yet to come. My body kept growing, my bones ached from stretching, and being little and cute was impossible. I couldn't shrink or camouflage. My body was a statement, a subversion. People are unkind to those who cannot assimilate. Adults would tell me how tall I was and how grown up I looked. And if you look the part, close enough. From random men on the street to my mother's colleagues, my changing body was a topic of discussion. Something to be parsed. I imagine this is why Noah telling me I had nice tits was refreshing. At least I knew what it meant. Maybe my fear of men grew because I was becoming closer to food. Fruit budding with the hope of ripening and hitting the ground before something ate me alive. I gave up with assimilation by making myself appear as tall and as loud as possible, trying to take up more space like a butterfly painting eyes on its wings. Kids at school wouldn't speculate as loudly about my gender if I sparkled. But Noah was kind to me, if kind was affirming my femininity by molesting me. But I would put on my roller skates every night and circle the neighborhood, hoping I'd see him, until his silhouette emerged from the dark, and the fear would set in, the discomfort that I stifled, insisting this was courtship. I suppressed the desire to go home and listen to the Backstreet Boys album, again, and put on body glitter, don armor in the safety of my bedroom where its powers could never be tested, and it lived just for me. I began reading Glamour and Cosmo to learn about sex, figuring it would be useful. I think I wanted to talk about sex like I had it, like an adult, so that he would be impressed or intimidated or captivated. I knew phrases like doggy style, but I didn't really know what they meant. I wasn't exactly sure anyway. I stole the magazines from my dentist office and from friends' houses and the discard pile at the library. I cannot emphasize enough how you should not learn to be an empowered sexual human from 1996 Cosmo sex I learned how to keep him interested, how to spice things up, and to be more sexually confident in my victimization. No one thing happened, there was no crescendo. It's narrative entropy. There was no woodsman cutting me out of the stomach of a wolf. I just moved away, writing to him often enough to still be embarrassing. Writing him stories that we were lovers, leaning heavily on the vocabulary Glamour and Cosmo had taught me in those dentist waiting rooms. Maybe if I performed all this, he'd love me, and all this danger would be neutralized. I want to scream at my 10-year-old self. Still, I want to shame her, to shake her and ask her why she didn't get herself out of that situation. Why she kept seeking it out. Why she just didn't stay inside instead of tying on her roller skates. How could she have been so stupid? How could she not have seen that wasn't love? That she was being taken advantage of? Poor little girl doesn't even have me on her side. She's frozen in time, frozen in those skates, her eyelids twinkling from damp, glittery gel. She saved up all of her allowance to buy so she could feel beautiful and powerful. I spent so much of 2 years of my life trying to make a relationship out of violation, to continually call it love, to continually make it love. If not love, then sex on equal footing, to create consent where none could possibly exist. To not have it be something that was happening to me, to figure out how to not feel so conflicted, so titillated, and so frightened. Noah got a girlfriend when I was in 6th grade, and I handled it badly. Not Boyle as Bunny badly, but it was crushing. See? I have to compare myself to the jilted lover. That's the joke. Like I entered into a sexual situation, made it something that it wasn't, and was furious that it didn't go my way. But I wasn't Noah's tragic ex. I was his victim. I kept waiting for a boy 5 years older than me, grooming me to give me something other than panic. You can never be gold, you can only have it. Now I hope he's forgotten me, that weird emotional child he knew. Worried that he somehow still has power to exert, that his capacity to humiliate me will come for me like a scandal. I worry everyone will know, everyone will see how I was a bystander for my own abuse. It still keeps me up at night, the worry that he's circling, that his face will be in a crowd, with that same smirk on his face. In my early 20s, I felt like I'd missed my opportunity to be desirable. My body finally stopped growing in the acceptable ways, and the discussion quieted as I was no longer grown up for my age. I was no longer fascinating in this micro-adult child being, but just an adult with a zero body confidence and a stash of rapidly expiring body glitter. My junior year at my private liberal arts college, we studied Lolita. For those who haven't read it, Lolita is a novel where the protagonist, Humbert, a middle-aged literature professor, becomes obsessed with and eventually rapes a 12-year-old girl. Gorgeous poetic prose is devoted to describing how mature Lolita looks, how womanly, to strip her of her girlhood, to rush her capacity to entice Humbert. My professor, trying to create sympathy for an anti-hero, told my class a story about his 19-year-old friend who dated a 13-year-old girl. He assured us all it was consensual, implying that rushing to judgment was unenlightened. I found my mother's photo albums in the attic last year. Developed snapshots of me in my prime, the age where my body betrayed me and convinced all those men I was so much more prepared for their constant stroking. There was one of me in a two-piece swimsuit, and instead of Jessica Rabbit or some other developed caricature femininity, I expected to look less juvenile, to look at least 16, but I didn't. My legs looked like that of a fawn, my body wet from the pool like a caterpillar in a chrysalis. I looked so childlike, elfin features, large feet I hadn't grown into, the sort of stretched and warped body when you're growing so fast and you can't eat enough. Body glitter is back in style with the tattooed necklaces and other 90s trends. I still wear it in the form of glitter liquid highlighter. Gold, of course. I'm happy to see it come back, to have it stuck in my fingers, smearing onto the screen of my phone. I choose to be seen, resplendent, shining like the sun. If you're going to look at me, I'll give you something to look at. My body was the thing that happened to me, something to survive. And now I'm a warrior, armored and glimmering. My hard jeweled shell as brassy as a cicada. Glitter is something he can never take from me.